Ah, cheeky little comment center first. What I've got for you today is a best of 3 series of high-level StarCraft 2. Game number 1, we find ourselves on the map Royal Blood, spawning right here in the bottom left-hand corner, playing with the blue SCVs and going for a pretty greedy build order. We have Maru and his opponent in the opposite corner, going for the hatchery first, so he's not going to be able to punish the Terran with the red Zerg drones. We're looking inside of the main base of DRG. Alrighty. Comment center first. It's one of those builds that in theory, can be a little greedy if Zerg decides to play very aggressively, right? The thing is, the builds from Zerg that really properly counter this are also the ones that usually get countered if Terran decides to go for a regular opener, such as, for example, a barracks on the, well, the high ground into a command center on the low ground, right? So you want to go for a really quick spawning pool, or even like a one-base Roach Ravager push. Maybe it can work out on some maps, but generally speaking, if your opponent is not going for a CC first, you'll fall really far behind. So, unless Terran players start playing very greedy and they'll go for command center first in like, you know, 2 out of 3 games, then I think Zergs are probably going to start hard countering it, but mixing it in every once in a while is certainly something that can be very good. It's going to be straight into a Marine as well. This basically means that Maru is not going to have any scouting information whatsoever, so we'll have to keep an eye out on exactly what he decides to go for, because, well, when you go for an opener like this, you have a plan, you're going to execute your plan, and you don't care what your opponent does in the meantime. No Reaper. Just a Marine, straight into a factory here. I think the earliest scouting opportunity for Maru is going to be when the Hellions come out. In the meantime, though, on the other side of the map, I mean, DRG does, of course, have these flying supply depots. They're kind of nice. He hasn't really seen all too much either, to be honest. Yeah, he's seen the timing right there of the CC, and I guess that's really all he needs to know. Interestingly enough, DRG decided to go for this pillar right over here. Most Overlord enthusiasts decide to go for one of these pillars in those locations, but apparently, yeah, he's already assuming that Maru will be sniping down this OV eventually, so he decides to go for a somewhat safer location over here, but obviously this spot also doesn't really scout a whole lot. Maybe if like a medevac flies by it, or I don't know, if Hellions decide to take a creative path across the map, this OV would spot it, but for the most part, not a very useful location. As Maru, okay, decides to add on factory number 2 and 3 as well. Now that is interesting. Generally speaking, Maru is very much so a bio-Terran type of guy. He likes playing that infantry-based army. Now, of course, he's considered to be the best Terran in the world, and because of that, he should be good at playing a variety of playstyles, but usually, he prefers playing something a little bit more mobile. So, I'm assuming this is actually going to be Battle Mech. That's really the only thing that makes sense. So, we'll probably, well, we'll see Cyclones and Hellions, I think, here momentarily, although we'll have to see exactly what he decides to go for here very soon. This is not quite as greedy as that Gumiho game that I casted recently. I think it was Gumiho versus Dark, if I'm not mistaken, where Gumiho decided to go command center first into a really quick 3rd CC as well, and then he went double upgrades before adding on those additional factories. Now, that is the greediest way of ever playing Terran Mech. DRG is going to scout the 2nd factory over here, though, so that's really all he needs to know, and that means he can do whatever he likes. But there we go. We've got ourselves the Cyclone improvement. Okay. Maybe he was just trying to trick his opponent for a second. Anyways, we should also be seeing the Blue Flame upgrade here coming up momentarily. This is a style, actually, I've been playing quite a bit of ladder again myself. This is a style that I, as a Zerg player, struggle against quite a bit. So, I'm going to be taking notes right here from DRG. The problem that I run into, right, with this very mobile Terran mech army is that it deals a stupid amount of damage, and if you're out of position or your creep spread is not really good, you fall behind right away. So it's difficult to judge exactly how many drones you can get away with. So that's what I'm going to be paying special attention to right here for DRG. Okay, so he's going 52 drones right here, and then he makes 10 roaches. I actually don't think that he is going to be playing a macro game on the back of this, no. The only reason to be making this many roaches right now, yeah, so he's losing another drone over there at the 4th, is I think if you want to go for a push. He's now following it up with a Link Flood 2. So, my main concern, right, is that he's gonna hit on the other side of the map with a whole lot of units right around the time that both of these upgrades finish up. And that's obviously a big power spike for the Cyclones and the Hellions. The Zerglings are probably just gonna get roasted by the Blue Flame, but I guess only time will tell. We've got Ravagers being morphed in right now. He has not been adding on any drones here for quite a while already. Okay, maybe he wants to go for a surround. Is that the plan? These Zerglings are taking a very long trip. Okay, Roaches and Ravagers are good at pushing this back, of course. Yeah, these links. Okay, they were thinking about going for a surround, but he's still making army. DRG, that is. Okay. So normally what I've been doing is I've been trying to draw up 4 bases. I've been trying to do that Serral-esque style, you know, where you defend, 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 and then eventually you overwhelm. But he is just, yeah, holding down the Zergling Roach button right now. That's all we're doing. That is an awful lot of Ravagers, by the way. He's morphed every single Roach into a Ravager. Okay. There's a lot of links available as well. They're going to be coming across the map momentarily. And you know what? This is actually a banger of an attack right here from DRG. I can imagine that the average ladder hero will not have the Hellion micro that Maru is showcasing us over here. Okay, 2 drones, or 2, well, Terran drones have gone down so far, only a handful of SCVs. The Hellion's now also going in for a counterattack, which I do quite like. Obviously, Blue Flame is very powerful, but the main problem right here for our Terran is this fight over here at the front. That siege tank is not going to be able to unsiege. These Ravagers are going to be able to get quite a bit of damage done. 20 workers have already gone down, and now the lair has started up right here for DRG. Okay. So DRG may have very well figured out a little timing attack right here that works wonders against a Terran player who decides to go straight into this Terran mech style. I'm gonna have to give this a try myself. 14 drones on the back of this though. Okay. So it's really just to secure an advantage, I suppose. Yeah, secure an advantage, obviously win the game if you can, but Maru considered to be the very best Terran player in the world. Like I already said, he's very strong defensively. It's gonna be difficult for him to well, obtain the victory straight up. So this was a very normal start for DRG, and then he decided, you know what? 52 drones or so is all I need. I'll just start making a round of Roach and massive Zergling. And I will see how it goes from there. Spire on the back of this too, okay. DRG, together with Ragnarok, one of the very few Zergs who loves playing Mutas. Ragnarok has been playing it against everybody lately, and I'm still not convinced that it's actually good. But DRG has been playing this ever since StarCraft 2 first came out, back in like 2010. He has been a fan of the Muta. So Roaches and Ravagers into, well, Roach speed as well, but together with a Spire. So we're gonna be playing a Roachling Muta. Okay. Now is when we finally see those armories coming up right here from Maru. So, I mean, imagine the push that we saw DRG going for just now against that super greedy mech style from Gumiho. I mean, Gumiho would have 2 upgrades, but no units. So I think that that push that we just saw coming out of the Zerg player would have won the game straight up if, well, that was the style that Dark decided to go for in that particular game on Altitude. Anyways, at this point, Maru has no idea about the Spire, right? So that Spire is going to finish up momentarily. He's going Drilling Claws. Sure, he's got some anti-air in the form of Widow Mines and Cyclones, but do we have any missile turrets? No, not yet. We do have an NG Bay coming up right here at the front. So that's going to unlock the Planetary Fortress, but also the missile turret, and that's going to be very helpful. 13 Mutalisks are coming up. Maybe these Hellions can scout something. Honestly, Maru has been dealing a lot of damage here over the course of this game. Yeah. I mean, it's... 9 drones doesn't really seem like that much, but at least he's putting a whole lot of pressure on his opponent, right? This is not the type of game where DRG can just freely make a gajillion drones. He wants to be hitting his opponent in the face very soon. Okay, so we have 20 Mutalisks. I really like what DRG is doing. Okay, now the Spire gets spotted. The +1 flyer upgrade is coming up here as well for the Zerg player. So that's a big indicator that, yeah, he is gonna be doubling down on the Muta tech as well. 3 missile turrets start up immediately. So interestingly enough, one of the missile turrets is covering the production here, which is kind of cute. Yeah, the problem is there's already Widow Mines out, right? So Widow Mines make the Mutas a little bit more difficult to control. He decides to play this cautiously. Go Pneumatize Carapace first. That's the speed upgrade, and now we're gonna go for a bit of a fight over here at the front. Okay, the Widow Mines do decide to unburrow, because DRG was trying to deal friendly fire right there with those Widow Mines by running into Zerglings. Good movement right there by Maru, who's got himself a 4th command center done right now, and immediately goes for, well, 4 missile turrets right over here at the front. That's a lot. I actually really like the mine transition. Not something we normally see, even though he didn't know exactly what he was playing against. The Widow Mines are a really clever choice. Normally what we see from this this Cyclone Hellion style is a mass transition. Oh, those Widow Mines are dealing so much damage. To siege tanks and Thors. That's usually what we've got, but not in this game so far. 7 more SCVs have gone down. Mutas are still poking over here, though. Yeah, as long as there's no Widow Mines over here, these Mutas are going to be able to get on top of this. Question is, though, is there even enough? No, I don't think so. It's not an engagement we see very often, right? Mutas trying to actually jump on the Cyclones, and I think Maru for a second right there was like, wait a second. You're jumping on me? I think I can just take this fight, and... Well, I actually thought DRG was gonna have the upper hand there just because of the sheer amount of Mutalisks with +1, but not quite the case. Maybe +1 actually wasn't done yet. I'm not exactly sure, but okay. So I actually like this position for Maru more and more. The problem with playing Mutaling Bane or Mutaling Roach is that as the Terran player maxes out, this is not the type of army that can really take on that Terran. So Thors are coming out right now. +2/+2 has started up here for the Terran too. We're gonna need to see higher tier units, or I guess a way for DRG to force the Terran into a lower amount of supply. Because if this goes on for another couple minutes, Maru is gonna be sitting at 200, and there's not that much that the Zerg player can do at that point to contest that army straight up. One option, I guess, for the Zerg would be to go for full-on counterattacks. That's always an option, but it's a bit dangerous for sure. Banelings are coming up, by the way. Centrifugal Hooks is gonna finish up in about half a minute. Maru is sitting nice and pretty. He started up additional command centers right now, too. And I'm not exactly sure what Banelings are gonna be able to achieve. I mean, there's already a wall off over here. There's siege tanks. As long as Terran is in the right place, he should be okay. Obviously, that's the big if. Ghost Academy also coming up right here for Maru. Missile turret goes down, fair enough. There's Thors over here in the back. Now we see the Banelings rolling forward. Okay, let's see how much damage these Banelings can do. No pool on the SCVs just yet. We're gonna lift off the command center instead. Magic boxing right there with the Mutas, trying to maximize the damage. Additional Thors, though, are coming out of those factories inside of the main base. I'm a little surprised we didn't see more SCVs pulled there sooner, and this actually turns out to be a much better engagement than I thought we were originally gonna see coming out of the Zerg. DRG with his aggression, man. Really nicely done here. He still needs to be careful, though. Yeah, if the traits are too inefficient, Terran's gonna be okay. 19 SCVs. 21 SCVs right now have gone down in total. Okay. DRG trying to rinse and repeat. This is a Lair-Tech-based Zerg, though, so he does not have a Hive-Tech transition here coming up. That means he's basically gonna sit around on the units that we've got right now, and the plan is to win with these units. Okay, magic boxing once again on the Thor to try and mitigate some of that splash damage. For the most part, it went decently well. More and more SCVs are falling. I love this Thor from the high ground, actually, even though I think it was accidentally locked in there. It worked out quite nicely, getting quite a few of these volleys off on all of those clumped up Mutalisks. 5th command center in the meantime, here in the middle of the map. That one has not been denied here by the Zerg. Okay, 53 Mutas have gone down in this game. DRG has basically decided, yo, I'm gonna be putting my foot on the gas pedal, and that's all we're doing today. Mass aggression. Now we're going back to Roaches, so I actually really like that move. Mass Mutaling Bane is gonna... Ooh, good scan over here. It sees the Roaches. But Mass Mutaling Bane is obviously going to trigger this Thor-based army, and not so much siege tanks. And when there's not that many siege tanks out on the battlefield, sometimes, yeah, the Roach transition can catch the Terrans off guard. Here's another Baneling roll by. I love the movement right here, though, by DRG. He's not going to be able to catch those SCVs this time, but the way he was maneuvering around there, very effective. The 4 missile turrets here on the right side have been quite annoying. But properly positioned planetary fortresses, well, there's actually only a single one over here. It's going to make it difficult for those Zergling run-bys to really deal proper amounts of damage. Here we go, the massive Ravagerling Bane transition suddenly coming up. We're still at Lair-Tech, still no Hive. Infestation Pit is coming up right now. DRG decides to go for another big push right over here. The Thors are properly upgraded, though. They don't take that much damage, actually, from Roach Ravager Ling. They try their very best, but I think there might, once again, just be enough right here for the Terran, yeah. Maru very good at confidently fighting here. Missile turret, in the meantime, over at the 4th base is gonna get denied. That means more SCVs will go down. 80 SCVs have gone down at this point in the game. Lovely plays right here from DRG. There's the Hive started up. He's got 92 drones, and his strategy is basically to just flood the map with units. This kind of reminds me a little bit of the way that Su used to play. I don't know how much Su plays StarCraft 2 these days, but Su was also, well, the guy... Ooh, now missile turrets over here. He was always the kind of guy who was happy playing this, like, mid-tier army and not really transitioning towards a hive. And personally, right, I'm not very good at controlling spellcasters. For Zerg, I mean, I can do Infestors, I can do Vipers, but doing both at once, which is oftentimes required in the later stages of the game, is really difficult. This seems like something I could maybe practice myself as well, so I'm definitely gonna go ahead and give this a try. Now, this is not a win yet, though, for the Zerg. Even though this looks incredibly oppressive, Maru's army is still looking dangerous. Plus, after this engagement over here, okay, well, I mean, maybe he's gonna be able to just clean up the entire Terran army. There's that Cyclone count once again, though. Still looking good. Good splits over here, too. Another siege tank or two ends up going down. Thor here also falls. Mutas once again dive into the mineral line. If you look here at the resources lost, yeah. Despite the fact that Maru has lost 114 SCVs in this game, he's been trading mineral and gas-wise significantly more effectively and efficiently here than the Zerg has. Sniperinos? Okay. They get out of range, so that ability will get denied. Ghost Cloaking coming up as well. +3/+3 are already done for the mech. Ooh, this is a beautiful catch right here for Maru, though. Scouts those mutas, and that's gonna probably be the end of the mutas in this game, to be honest. Unless he decides to go back to this once again. He's only got 3 of them left over. He's got decent upgrades on the mutas, so he could always double down again. Maybe go for a Greater Spire? The Hive at this point is done. I wouldn't mind seeing that. We've seen Brute Lords be very effective. Anyways, Maru already losing that planetary over here in the middle of the map, of course, so he decides to now go for an orbital command. Fair enough. Viper coming up right here for DRG. Probably wants to go for some blinding clouds, but before we get to that point, he once again decides to march all of the Zerg units forward. Very clean corrosive biles, but good splits here as well by Maru. Splitting up his Terran mech and Ghost mech here, as if it's a Bio Terran, couple SCVs, saving that command center by the, or sorry, that siege tank, by the skin of its teeth. The couple mutas here still in the back of the main base, trying to be a nuisance, but this is gonna be the end of that. Okay. Adrenal Glands, finishing up here for the Zerg player. Maru has been up with his back against the wall, but in the end, the man does now have 5 base economy. DRG has been with his foot on the gas for a long time. He's lost 69 Mutalisks, that's kind of nice. 116 SCVs have gone down. He's just trying to force the Terran player out of this game right now, man. And these fights are going... they're going decently well, but I feel like there's a finish line here for this unit composition from the Zerg. And I think we've just crossed it. With the Terran army and the Zerg economy, I don't really see this army moving... Okay, he's got another base secured. He's also got that expansion here on the right side of the map, so the 87 drones that we have at least still are getting efficient trades, but those ghosts are just being so incredibly powerful here. Obviously, with one good engagement and Banelings connecting on the ghost, that would be amazing, but Hellbats are really cost efficient as well against this Baneling-based army. I actually don't necessarily mind this game right here from Maru, which is kind of funny considering, well, he's lost 117 SCVs and DRG has been in the driver's seat of this match for the last 15 minutes or so. This is usually the unit that we have Zerg players rushing out against Battle Mech. Couple of Blue Flame Hellions over here do get caught against Zerglings. Zerglings now do have Adrenal Glands. But DRG is broke. Yeah, DRG actually doesn't have any money anymore. Little Zergling run by over here, trying its very best. Maru's strategy is still the same as it's always been, and that is to try and max out. Taking an expansion from here, though, for Terran is gonna be difficult. His expansions are running low. Snipes on Banelings? Really? Okay. Anyways, his bases are running out. More and more SCVs are going to find their graves over here. Banelings, in the meantime, trying to roll into the ghosts, but they are controlled properly. I think the expansion over here and maybe the one over here on the left side of the map are the most viable options, but they're also really far apart. So preferably right here for Maru, he probably doesn't want to go for another expansion here if he doesn't have to. I think he probably wants to max out on the economy that he's got right now and try his very best with it. Wouldn't mind seeing him take these gas geysers over here. I don't think that would be a bad choice. Okay, a couple more banelings over here trying to be annoying, but the siege tank apparently 13 confirmed kills took care of that. We do have a Viper in the air. We do have fungal growth available here too. Not to be underestimated. But DRG clearly was planning on winning this game already at this point, right? So he is taking it a little bit easier right now. Now, before the Terran can once more try to max out, we have DRG going in for another attack. 14 SCVs have gone down here once more. That now brings the grand total of 136. It's funny to me that I'm saying it, but 136 workers into this game being lost, I actually think this is still a playable match right here for Maru. If he can max out, even if it's just a single time, I think he can just bulldozer his way straight towards the Zerg side of the map. All of these fights, of course, have been taking place off creep, though, so it's a little difficult to judge exactly how this would have gone if these fights were on creep. 24 additional Zerglings, +3/+3 is finishing up here as well for DRG. Only a single carapace upgrade, but I guess when you throw your units away like this, it doesn't really matter too much. It's all about the damage, not so much about how long they survive. Although I guess if they survive longer, it is gonna give him, well, a little bit more damage in the end too. Anyways, the golden minerals over here required 2 by DRG. He could have had both of these bases taken, actually. There's not really that much the Terran could have done about it. This expansion over here completely left alone, and that is because Maru, after sitting back for the last 20 minutes, has decided it is time to go. Yeah, this expansion over here is very vulnerable. As soon as Zerg saw that Terran's moving on creep, okay, he decides to go for at least a small little counterattack here. 11 more SCVs have gone down. Maru finally took care of one of the Zerg bases. Okay, he's gonna go towards the high ground. This is still a low-tier Zerg army, though, man. Blinding Cloud could be massive here, but good EMP! Shutting down that Viper right before it could actually cast any of its spells. A couple decent fungal growths here, but Maru decides to back off. Okay, he's moving forward once again, trying to create a chokehold on this expansion here, too. Finally, some drones are going down once again. Okay, Thor's here in the back, dealing as much damage as possible. Splits against fungal growth Thors. At the very least, not all of those biles connected. And that is actually Maru right now striking back. Okay, DRG doesn't have a lot of money, but I think Roach Ravager here would be amazing. More and more Zerglings coming across the map. Honestly, this base not being a planetary here is very painful. Oh my god. 162 SCVs have gone down in this game. Okay, in the meantime, okay, we do have the Medevacs here. Whew, I thought for a second those Thors were just by themselves. That would have been very expensive. Not the case, though. They managed to pick up and get on out of there. They were thinking about killing this base. Scan over here reveals that Zerg did not take either of those 2 expansions in the bottom right. So Maru is thinking right now, how much economy can DRG really have at this point in the game? Well, he's got a decent amount of it. There's one Zergling over here as well, scouting everything that's happening here in the center of the map, but he just took care of 2 expansions here from the Zerg. Zerg likely does have more bases. Okay, there's Neural Parasite coming up. There's Infestors. I like this transition here from DRG a lot. He's got a lot of gas in the bank. Get some of those spellcasters going. Terran doesn't have that many units. If you can EMP these ghosts or maybe take control of the Thors, maybe even the siege tanks, that would be amazing. I think also just pure Roach Ravager would do decently well, though. A lot of the Terran units right here do, okay, well, get some nice hits in right here on those Roaches, Ravagers, and Lynx. In the previous patch, those snipes would have all connected, but not the case this time around for Maru. Once again, man, as soon as he moves out, the Zerglings move in. If this is gonna be a Maru victory, it would be so sick. 172 SCVs have gone down. I don't think it can really happen, though. DRG's transition here into spellcasters is really nice, although, well, you can't just lose them for free. Zerg's starting to long distance mine some of the bases over here, too. I actually don't think that's ideal. Couple of blue flame hellbats here are gonna prevent more units from coming up here, but okay. Neuroparasite is going to finish here very soon. We do have Burrow, of course, as well. I think that would be a really nice addition here. Bringing those infestors underground and knurling some of this Terran army. It's not like there's that many orbital comments available for Terran either to just continuously scan. No, he's got actually a very small amount of eco. Maru trying to take the base over here. Okay. Raven coming up too. I actually really like the Raven here. If you don't have a lot of scans, the Raven, of course, is a detector. Okay, drones for some reason are being sacrificed right here to the siege tank gods. Oh no, gigantic misery right here from the Zerg. 33 drones just got donated, but, well, at the same time, we do have Terran getting maybe a little overly ambitious. Those infestors, though, moving way too far forward. And after a series of significant blunders, it is Maru who obtains the victory here. Oh my god. 172 SCVs go down and the man still wins? That's gotta be one of the most frustrating losses right there for DRG, man. The thing is, it feels like you're winning the entire game long, but the traits are so incredibly cost inefficient that you really do have to prevent the Terran from getting a lot of eco. And yeah, he killed so many SCVs, but he never really shut down the Terran, I suppose, right? I wonder though if he would have just gone straight Roach Ravager right there at the end. When your economy falls and you don't really have that much income anymore, spellcasters are obviously really, really good, but I feel like just literally 200 supply worth of Roach Ravager would have probably been a bit better there. Anyways, maybe that would have triggered a different response as well out of our Terran player, though. It's difficult to say, but when the siege tank count isn't really there anymore, I've got the feeling that a Roach Ravager would probably be a pretty decent call. But hey, what do I know? We've got ourselves a double barracks opener right here on Gresvin. That's map number 2 in his best of 3 series. Never count Maru out, man. I think his Cyclone Hellion style got countered really nicely there, but he still knew how to transition. I think that's probably where a lot of Terran players would get stuck. When you're under that much pressure, when you lose that much economy continuously, it's very easy to sit around on your current unit composition, right? So you're, well, happy just playing the Cyclones, the Roaches, or sorry, the Roaches, they wish they had Roaches. The Cyclone Hellion-based army into Siege Tanks and Thors, right? Maru, though, still transitioning towards the Ghost there, and I think that turned out to be absolutely critical. If we didn't have those EMPs right there at the final engagement, yeah, no, that game would have looked entirely different, and there would probably be a couple of, yeah, Terran players in the comment section of this video complaining about how OP Zerg is. Instead, we have the exact opposite. We have good Terran players saying, or sorry, Zerg players saying, oh my god, what do you even counter the Ghost? What do you even do against them? Well, not clump up your spellcasters is usually step number 1. Anyways, a Reaper's over here, being denied quite nicely. Generally speaking with this opener, of course, Terrans will only go for 3 Reapers. I would definitely go 5 Reapers myself, just because, you know, making 2 barracks that quickly just for 2 Reapers or 3 Reapers seems a bit silly, but these top level Terrans, they know better what to do. Okay, one of them goes down. A couple of Zerglings were killed, but that's really about it. Getting this creep tumor would be nice. You could have gotten it, but probably did not anticipate the Zerg player already getting it done. Now, on this side of the map, yeah, your add-ons right here on these barracks are very exposed. So both the reactor as well as the tech lab here can very easily be cancelled. If Zerg decides to go for a big push, especially if you decide to like research Stimpack over here, they can deny it continuously. Anyhow, we've got ourselves a factory as well as a starport right here in the main base. So ultimately, yeah, this is just going to transition right here towards a 2-1-1 opener. DRG not going for a Roach push though this time around, at least not an early game Roach push. No, we're gonna go double upgrades first, is that the plan? Or a single upgrade? Really, just a single Evo chamber. Interesting. Yeah, if you were to go for a Roach push right now, if you planted down the Roach Warren at like the conventional timing, at like latest at 4 minutes or so, it would march across the map and be, well, there, right around the same time that Stimpack would finish. Obviously, if you can snipe the Stimpack upgrade, that would be huge, but he doesn't know exactly what he's playing against, so He hasn't seen the add-ons here, so he couldn't really make that call. Instead, he decides to go for 5 Overlords right now. That's way too many. But also the Carapace research. Okay, so 4 Hellions. It's a strange little 2-1-1, because, yeah, we didn't go for the switcheroo over here on the starboard. Now we're gonna do so. But he decided to pump out 4 Hellions here first, which is kind of interesting. Normally we see double medevac production at this point in the game. If those medevacs unload in the main base and Zerg doesn't know? No, he doesn't see that. Oh, he's prepared for it though, but he's a little too late, just a couple seconds. If these Hellions are unscouted and they start roasting drones, this could be a disaster. Okay, well, here we go. Oh no, don't shoot the gas. It's a little bit of a mistiming right there, but still. Okay, good crisis management here actually by DRG though. Only 5 drones there. I think it could have been a little bit more. The Queens really want to finish the job over here, but against this opener, the 2-1-1, you generally don't go for Spore Crawlers, otherwise the Spore probably would have moved into position. Maybe that's actually why Maru decided to go for this particular push. Okay, getting a couple more drones on his way out. Not bad. Okay. Here's the transition though, coming up right here for Terran. No mech, but instead we're gonna go into the Stimpack upgrade, the 1-1, now the combat shields as well. These 3 upgrades will finish up right around the same time. And if I were to make a guess, that's probably when Maru decides to go for a really big push. Okay, so DRG is scouting all the likely locations where medevacs would fly by, but Maru going for the greedier approach, just flies them straight across the map, and for some reason, that entire path across the minimap is unscouted, and he now also doesn't see this over here in the main base. You could even target fire down the spawning pool if you want to, which actually is very annoying in a situation like this. Or just kill all the Zerglings. Ooh. I mean, +1 Carapace here certainly helps out. But that was a lot of links. Yeah, 33 Zerglings have gone down. At the same time, Banelings over here, over at the 3rd. Good reaction right there by the Terran. Only 2 SCVs go down, but that could have been a disaster. Okay, he wants to get one of these Queens too. May very well get his wishes. Nah, not the case. Couple drones, pick up and get on out. Alright, we're gonna set a bit of a wall up over here, over at the 3rd base of the Terran. Making sure that he does not get caught off guard against a bunch of Banelings once again, or at the very least that the Banelings have to go through a wall off first. Or around it, giving himself a bit more time. Infestation Pit already coming up right here for DRG, so I think he's gonna go straight into the hive here. That moment when you think you're saved as a Marine, and you're like, oh, thank God, I got picked up just barely in the nick of time, and, well, the next moment you're forced to drop yourself onto Banelings. A little sad right there, but it's the most cost-efficient way to do it as a Terran player. Okay. Armory is a little late, so no 2-2 research just yet. This is one hell of a timing right here, though, from Maru. +1/+1, Stimpack, combat shields, couple siege tanks, good amount of medevacs. He's split up a little bit. Baneling speed at this point is done. Melee attacks level 1 is finishing up as well for the Zerg. Yeah, I feel like there's more Terran army out there. It's actually only just now showing up. Brilliant pre-splits right here, though, from our Terran player. A little concerned for those run-bys and Banelings and all that, but at the very least, a couple of the reinforcements here are killed by the Zerg player, who is going to have to defend this eventually, yeah. He decided to give up the base, and now he wants to collapse on top of his army. Banelings do get targeted down right there, and immediately the Marines once again unload. Reinforcing Terran units once more coming out. Is there enough right here for Zerg to push this back? He's already lost the expansion, though, but he's got another base that he already acquired over here. Maru wins that little battle as well. That skirmish was really well set up for DRG, but Maru microed incredibly well there. Going straight towards the high ground. Siege tank over here as well. This is a difficult position to break. Medevacs are low on energy, but they can go for just a bit longer. Marines are going to defend the back of this siege tank over here too. More and more reinforcing units will be cleaned up. With this expansion falling, though, DRG is actually going to run out of juice very quickly. 2-2 has started up in the meantime as well for DRG. Or sorry, for Maru here. DRG a little bit behind on those upgrades because he, well, can't really afford it here. And that's that hatchery falling. Okay, so our Zerg has been effectively reduced right now to 3 base play. He needs to get some lucky hits in over here, and maybe this is gonna be something. Good splits once again here, though, by our Terran player, mitigating a lot of that splash damage of the Banelings, target firing some of them down as well. Maru is so good, man. Yeah, if you weren't convinced yet about his strengths in that previous game, this match over here is, or this game right over here on Gressman is very dominant. Just looking, you know, like a league above, right? It's not that DRG is playing poorly here, it's just that Maru, look at his splits over here, ay. It's just that Maru is one bridge too far.